What is up, guys? It's Ivaldi Sako here, and welcome to the Ivaldi Sako Show. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about, real quick, when you don't get what God promised you and how maybe you messed it up and how to not mess it up in the future. How to make sure next time, in the next maybe very close opportunity, you actually get it, right? Now, why didn't you get it right now? Maybe God found that your heart wasn't in the right place. Maybe you were not ready. Maybe you didn't do the work, right? Maybe you messed it up, or maybe you were going to get it and then mess it up, right? So ask yourself, what could I have done before to prepare, to be ready, right? How could I have worked more, better, become like more ready to actually get God's blessing? Sometimes God just wants us to like do the work. Like we have a role. Like it's not because God promised you something that you're necessarily going to get it if you don't deserve it, right? God promised you this, but it comes with a certain like condition. Like you gotta be like putting in the work, right? If you don't put in the work, nothing's gonna happen. God is going to find out that, you know, He promised you this, but if it was His promise, if it was good for you, if you actually loved Him enough, right? Because if you don't put in the work, and it's not like, you know, we're not saved by our actions, right? We are saved by our faith, but faith produces actions, right? So if you don't, like, if you believe that God is going to give you that, if you really believe it, it's enough. But if you do really believe it, then at the same time you're going to produce the actions. You're going to actually like get ready for what God is promising you. But if you don't believe enough to take the actions, this means that you don't really have the faith, and so this means that you don't maybe deserve the success, the promises that God has for you, the blessings. I mean, look at this, right? This is because God is great, but at the same time I did my part, right? I took the flight, right? I took the risk because I had faith, right? If I didn't have faith, I wouldn't have taken the actions. But if I had just a small, like, just not enough faith to take even the action, I wouldn't be here, right? So this is encouragement for you to, like, get the feedback, right? You are not where you want to be right now because somewhere you messed up. Somewhere you were not ready, somewhere your heart wasn't, like, your intentions were not the best ones, right? Or maybe you had the desire for your blessing and your love for God's promises become higher, like you loved more the promises than God, right? And so you must ask yourself, where's my heart here, right? Do I love God more than the promises He made to me? Because sometimes when you focus too much on the promises and the blessings, then you start like falling in love with the good life, right? Like right now, this kind of life, I must be able to just like lose it, give it up for God. Are you able to like get God's promises, get what you want, and then if God asks you to just, okay, now give it up for me now, right? Are you able to do it? If you're not, this means that you're kind of committing, like, I think it's right to say this, like, you're committing adultery. Like, this is the sin of adultery, because you're not supposed to love anything more than your God. And so if you're loving your blessings, even if it's God's blessings, if you love them more than you love God, that's not good, right? So maybe it's because of this that you didn't get the blessings yet, because if you did, you would be maybe in the worst position. So ask yourself this, and then prepare. Like, do the work. If you haven't prepared correctly, ask yourself, okay, how could I improve? How could I be able to put myself even more in the uncomfort and take new actions or new level of actions that are going to allow me to get what God wants from me, right? If this blessed you, share it with someone that you think it might help. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next one. Take care.